Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing today? Let me arrange this camera. I have the fanny pack behind there. I took my lip balm out first because I knew that I would want it, which I already do. So I say this in a lot of my vlogs, but tonight it's not going to be long. I've been literally in a car for like 8 hours today, and I came home and crashed. Alex went to bed, and I just wanted to go to bed with him and the dogs. So I did, and I woke up, and it is 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'm going to film a somewhat brief, I mean, not 10 minutes, it'll probably be a half an hour or so, vlog tonight, and then do a longer one in the next couple days. It's just been a really long day. So we got up today and got ready, and then Alex went and picked up, he got ready first, and so he left to go pick up Jason's ex-girlfriend, and well, I got ready, and then he came back to the house, and then I was ready when he came back. And we drove to Lexington, Kentucky, the three of us, and her dog. She brought her dog with her, too. And she takes her dog everywhere, and the dog's really cute, and very well behaved. So, anyway, yeah, it was 3 hours and 45 minutes or something like that. I don't know. We got stuck in a lot of road construction on the way there. On the way back, we didn't get... She came back with somebody else, so it was just Alex and I on our way back. And so on the way there, we got stuck in a lot of road construction, and then it poured down rain during part of the ride, and I wore shorts and a t-shirt there, and then I went into like a truck stop and changed when we were about halfway outside of Lexington. It was nice. It was a really nice funeral. It was, they had a viewing from, well, it wasn't really a viewing, because he was cremated, but it was from 4 to 7, and, I had a real small family, like my family's really small. So we went and we talked to his mom, and it was weird because I could tell that Alex was getting really nervous when we were getting to the front of the line, and I looked at him and I was like, "Are you okay, babe?" And he was like, "I don't know what to say." And I said, "Well, do you want me to say something first?" And he goes, "Would you please?" He said, "'Cause I just don't want to say anything." I said, "Well, you can't, there's nothing wrong to say." So I just kind of introduced us to her, and then Alex kind of took over, and I started just like bawling. I just kind of like touched her arm, and I said, I'm so sorry. I said, you know, there's nothing good to say in situations like this. And she's like, yeah, she was so nice. She was so nice, and she was like, yeah, just really, it's horrible. And the rest of his family was there, and there were a lot of people. I was really surprised. There were a lot of people that he grew up with and went to high school. He played high school football and college football at Kent State, and so there were a lot of people there from high school and college, but then there were a lot of people from Indianapolis that drove down. So I got to meet a lot of those people. Most of them I had met like once or twice, but I didn't know them really, really well. And it wasn't super sad, you know, like it wasn't, I feel like Alex and I were talking about this on the way home. It's just, I don't know, maybe I'm in a little bit of shock. Maybe he is too. He was saying that he like didn't feel overly emotional on the way. Like he was like, I just feel like it hasn't even hit me yet. And I said, well, you got kind of emotional several times today, and it was really a celebration. I mean, it honestly was, you know. And so then they had, at 7, they had like 5 5 people that spoke, and then people were gonna get up at the end, like, and whoever wanted to speak could speak, but we left right then because at that point that was gonna put us home, like being gone all day long. We had to get back to the dogs. So the first guy that spoke was like his high school. So his mom must have worked at his elementary school as a teacher, because there were like a lot of people that referenced the elementary school that he went to and like their school township and the community, and it was really cool. And so the first guy that spoke like did something with the school. I wasn't really sure, like maybe the principal of the school. And then I don't know, at the second and the third, I think we're just like close members of like the family. They were like really personal ones. And then there was this guy that was like his 6th grade teacher, and he gave a really, really sweet eulogy. And there was like another girl there that was like in his class when he was in 6th grade, and he like pointed to her, and he said some things, and he got really choked up. He said that the day that Jason died, he was in a gas station, like he was retired. And he said that the day that Jason died, he was in a gas station, and this guy came up to him, and what was the saying that he said? It was he had it like in his classroom, like on like posters, and he had it like on a plaque in front of his desk, and he would say it like every day. You'll probably have a better tomorrow if you plan for it today. And he said that he just was real emotional, and that he had just like literally gotten the call and about Jason, and that this guy came up to him, and he was like getting a Diet Coke for his wife, the fountain thing. And this guy was standing next to me. He just kind of looked at him. He didn't really recognize him. He was like this big burly guy with kids. And he said, the guy looked at him and goes, "You'll probably have a better tomorrow if you plan for it today." And he just like started crying. And he was like, what you say to people, they remember, you know, and that the things that we, I don't know, I faded off like halfway at the end of this, because it started getting me, it's so true. It started me thinking about like all of the things that people have said to me in my life, some that I didn't want to hear, some that I needed to hear, some that were really, really nice, you know. And I started thinking about all of these mentor, brother, sisters, mother, father types that I've had in my life, you know, that have said these things to me that just stuck. You know, life is not a dress rehearsal. We do with what we're given. You know, we're on borrowed time as it is. I started thinking about all of these things, you know. Good. It was nice. And then the last guy that spoke was his high school football coach, and he had the whole football team. Like there was like tons of football players there that he went to high school with, and he had them all stand up at one point. It was like real emotional. I don't know why, like that part I just like lost it, just seeing these. He spoke like a football coach, like a Southern football coach, you know. And he was like, what did he say? He said, you know, if you had asked me the year when he was like a junior, when he was a junior and a senior, he was like, to talk about him, he was like, I could have listed, he said I had it memorized. He goes, because so many, apparently he was like scouted by like tons of colleges, because he said in there that Clemson recruited him, Northwestern recruited him, Virginia Tech recruited, I think it's Virginia Tech recruited him, or Virginia, he said. And Kent State recruited him, Ohio recruited him, and that he ended up going to Kent State. And that he was like really smart. I thought, my God, to get into those colleges, not just on an athletic like recruiting scholarship, but I mean academically, those are like really tough schools to get into, you know. And he was because Jason was a financial analyst, and And he said, you know, I can remember when, like, scouts would ask him about him, and he'd say, how did he say? He said 6'5", 295, and can run a 4'9" something. I don't know, he goes, which is unheard of at somebody at his size. And he said, but what I would always tell him is that he would call his mom in the middle of the night when he was hanging out with his friends, and his friends were going through something because his mom gave such good advice, and that he was a mama's boy. And sweet. They just were really nice eulogies, you know. And I felt like, you ever been to a funeral before where it's just really impersonal and you don't feel like they're talking about the person that you knew at all? Like, I didn't feel like that. Like, I felt like it was beautiful. It was nice, you know? And I didn't hear a lot of people talk about how short life is. I didn't hear people talk about, you know, like, that it was, I mean, I just didn't hear people were sad. There were a lot of people that were crying, but they weren't saying things like, oh, you know, like, gone too soon, or, I mean, it was more of a celebration of the life that he was given. And I think that more than anything reiterated for me, you know, in situations like that a lot, I always look at him and I think to myself, like, oh, life is fragile, life is short. This isn't a dress rehearsal. I say that a lot, right? But I think what all of this reiterated for me was, like, how grateful he was for his life. I mean, he was somebody that lived life, you know? And so I don't think that it left a lot of people, we were talking about this on the way down, it didn't leave a lot of people with this idea that, like, he had this life that was cut short because he lived the life that he wanted to live. He didn't complain. You know, he didn't sit around and feel sorry for himself. He made the most of his life. At 37 or 38, you know, he had a great life. And we even talked to the guy that he was in the car with. Jason was driving, but the other guy that was in the car with him. And I felt bad for this guy. He kind of just, like, I mean, everybody was kind of looking at him, like, wanting to know the story, you know. He was younger. He was, like, in his mid-20s. There was, like, 4 of them that had gone to this music festival, and he was with him in the car, and then there was, like, 2 other guys that were, like, driving, like, 20 minutes behind them. This guy was, Alex, like, his friends with him. They've gone to a couple music festivals together, but I hadn't met this guy, and he was just really nice. So yeah, we stayed there for that. I'm really glad that we drove down there and went. I think Alex really needed to do it. I think he needed to be around. I mean, he even said to me, he was like, it was so good for me to see, like, grown men cry and talk about how much they loved somebody. He was like, because I didn't grow up seeing that, you know? He was like, I grew up seeing, like, this football coach really cried. I mean, he looked like he played the part as a football coach in, like, The Blind Side or something. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, he looked like he played the part of a football coach in some movie about Southern football, like in high school. And he's up there and he's just bawling his eyes out and just giving this really fantastic eulogy. And it just was great, you know, that, like, I don't know, it was good for Alex. It was really good for him to be around other people that were going through the similar thing. And it was nice for him and I to be able to have some time afterwards to kind of, like, to process it and talk about it. And I sat there, you know, and I was sitting in the, like, when they were talking in the eulogy, and so I was thinking about this one thing, like, they were listing off all of the things. This one guy listed like this was the first guy, listed like all of the things that Jason had done. He did tons of volunteer work, tons. And one of the things that he did was that he sat on the board for Pathways in Indianapolis, which is they're halfway houses for homeless people in recovery. And like, I've been friends with so many people that have gone through there. I've been friends with people that have worked there. I used to go to meetings there. So like, it really is like something that's important to me. And I don't know if I vlogged about this or not. I vlogged about the night, I'm sure, but I don't remember if I said specifically what it was about. But Jason asked Alex and I specifically to go because he knew that I was sober, and he was like, it would really mean a lot to me if you and Peter would go. He got a table for 10, and he was like, if you guys would go with us. And I was thinking about that today, you know, and all these other things that he did. He went to Cambodia for like a month with a group of people, and that was like who they all went to like this Rev thing with last weekend, all these people that he went to Cambodia with. And he had set up an organization. He had helped set up an organization for scholarships for inner city youth to like go to college. And he had done all these things, and like, I was sitting there and I thought to myself, you know, like, if Alex had just driven down with like his friends that were like all real close in that friend circle, and I hadn't gone, like, I would have missed out on this. You know, I would have missed out to really hear about the impact that somebody had on others' lives, number one. Number two is like, he was a good friend to me, you know, and like, there have been so many moments in my life when I wouldn't say in the last 5 or 10 years as much, because I try to just do what I think the right thing to do is. There's a recovery statement that is, do the next right thing. And my ex-sponsor, well, not my ex, but my old sponsor, he used to hate that. And he would say, it's not do the next right thing, it's do the right thing. And so, you know, when he started telling me that 10 years ago, 12 years ago, whatever, that's how I try to live my life, you know, in certain situations. And so I've really learned to suit up and show up, and to be there. And I realized, you know, a long time ago, but it was reiterated for me today, that these are the moments that life is about. These are the moments. You know, Alex was asking me about some different funerals that I've been through the years, and I was telling him about this kid's funeral that I went to, who died of sudden sniffing death syndrome. I think he died June 20th of 2001. I've talked about that story on here before. It really had a huge impact on me, and I'm really close with his family. And I was like, I've never been to a funeral before like that. I mean, there were tons of teenagers, and so he was huffing computer duster, and he was diving into a swimming pool, and so he went into immediate cardiac arrest. It's really, really dangerous. It's called sudden sniffing death syndrome. It's from people that huff. And the reason that I don't know if it is anymore, but the reason why it was so hard to get computer duster for a long time, for you to be a certain age, I think, was because of so many deaths related to huffing. But I remember walking in, and it was like, it was not a celebration of, I mean, it was a funeral, and it was sad, and it was a life cut short, and it was all of these kids, you know, in black and dark clothes. Although I remember quite a few guys that had like bright ties on and stuff, you know, girls in bright dresses, but I would say the majority was like rather dark, and it just was so sad, you know. I had a friend of mine, I talked about this on here, a family friend of mine that died from an opioid overdose. I think it was like a year, it was Memorial Day weekend, I think, last year. So it was almost exactly a year ago. No. That was when his gravestone was set. So it would have been like a year and a couple months ago. And I remember he was in the military too. He had been in the military. And I remember going to that viewing. They had a private funeral, but the viewing, I like walked in and I'm really close with his mom and his sister. And his sister's sober. And they had a room over here, which is where he was, and his mom was sitting right next to the casket. And then they had like, and she was sitting like on a stool. And then they had like his dad and his brother were like back a little bit, and then his sister was back. So like when you came in that room, you could like talk to each of them. So I came in the door, and there was another room to the left that didn't have anything in it. And the line, and I went with a friend of mine that knew them really well too. And like the line went in all the way through that room, all the way around. And I mean, it was 2 hours that I stood in line. The kind of impact that we have on people's lives and we don't even realize it sometimes, you know? That whole situation was so sad. And, I mean, obviously every time it's really, really sad in a situation like that, but I remember his mom was like, she had to like see, she wanted to see where it happened. He didn't live here at the time, and she was like, I need to see where it happened. Like, I just need to be there and see where he left this planet, you know, left this earth. And she's really a woman of strong faith, and I don't know, I was just thinking today a lot about all of the people that I've lost through the years, you know? You know, I pretty much just on here talk about my mom and my aunt and my uncle, and Alex and I were actually talking about that today. He's like, you know, he's like, because he was so upset for both of those, you know? And he said, I feel like for your aunt and your uncle, he was like, I was kind of prepared, like, your aunt, we knew we were at the end with her. I mean, my aunt could not breathe because of lung disease. I mean, she was on an oxygen tank. And she knew that things were not good. And we knew, you know, like 2 weeks before at Christmas, we knew it was bad, you know. And tomorrow is David's graduation, by the way, which... why it makes me real emotional, but it just makes me sad that none of them are here, you know. He meant so much to my mom and my aunt, my uncle. My uncle was his best friend. But you know, Alex was like, I feel like I was more prepared, and I was like, well, yeah, of course. I said, babe, you're not expected to feel any certain kind of way. And he goes, well, how do I know if I'm not just pushing it down? And I said, you won't really know that. I said, but just, you know, I said, I think one thing is like, if you're feeling something, just allow yourself to feel it. Don't be embarrassed of it. Don't be ashamed. Just allow yourself to feel it, you know? And, which was weird because as he was saying it, I was like, I just kept on having this image of Jason standing in our living room. Just had that image over and over and over. Him talking to me, you know. I was thinking about my friend that took his life when I was like in my mid-20s. I feel like for 46, almost 47, I've lost so many people, you know? And the thing is that being in recovery, it's like, you meet people all the time, but like, not every person that comes in stays sober. And so you'll get close with somebody, But I will say this, the majority of the times that it happens, I would say, it's not like they go back out and they're out for like a year or two and then you hear that they passed away. It's like literally you just saw them at a meeting on a Tuesday and then they're gone. And you're like, what happened? And they're like, they went back out on Wednesday and somebody found them Thursday. I mean, I can't even tell you how many people that I've lost that way. Tons and tons of beautiful people that have died from overdoses, you know? And car accidents as well, related to drug and alcohol use. A lot of people that have taken their own lives. There was a period of time where I feel like Tanya and I just, like, it was like once a month we were going to a viewing. Alex and I were talking about like what Jason would want. So the celebration of life is on Friday, and it's so they're doing like an hour of like mingling. It's like at this like, it's where we go see DJs is where they're having it. They rented that out, and they're having like an hour of like mingling, and they're having like food in an open bar, and then they're having like an hour of speakers, and Alex is speaking, and then they're, so that's from like 7 to 9, and then like, or no, 6 to 8, and then 8 to 11 is like they're having DJs. Because he really wanted to have like a music thing. And they're all talking about like putting a music festival together maybe for next year. Not like a festival, but like a small festival here in Indianapolis in his honor. I just can't like get over the idea that, you know, 2 weeks ago we were dancing with him. Alex literally texted him the day before he passed away. He was at Hangout, which was the music festival that he was at. And he texted Alex, because Alex texted to me last night, was like, hey, when I get back, like, he was like, he wanted to take a break from dating. And he was like, I just want to hang out with my friends. Can I take you and Alex? He said something like, you know, I realized that I could like go on a date with somebody that I didn't know, or I could just go out to take you and Peter out to dinner, and we could all three of us have like a really great time at dinner. Can I take you guys somewhere fun? And Alex was like, yeah, that would be really nice. And he was like, okay, as soon as we get back, we'll plan it. Alex sent that to me last night. And it's surreal to me that like 2 weeks ago, he was standing in our living room. And now it's like, well, the funeral's over. The celebration of life is going to be over on Friday. And then it's like people go back to normal. Life goes back to normal. I think that's why it's important for us to, you know, pay homage to people's lives and remember what they did for us and how they impacted us. And to keep that memory alive, I think is important. Every time that I like talk about like grief in one of my vlogs, I always get people that say, you know, I just lost somebody, or, you know, like my mom or my dad is really sick. Thank you for talking about this. Or they'll say like, this really helped me. You know, I sometimes think that there's like no magic words to say. I don't know that at the time that I was going through what I went through with my mom, or like, you know, even like with this stuff with Alex, like he was saying to me today on the way home, he was like, so many of the things that you have said over the years just like really resonated with me today. And I was like, what? And he was like, well, you said this and you said that. And I was like, he was like, do you remember saying those things? I was like, no, but I mean, those are things I believe. I say those things all the time, you know, that and he was like, it brought me comfort today. He was like, thank you. He was like, because it brought me a lot of comfort in getting through today. Like, one of the things is, I don't care if people have issues with my feelings. Like, they're my feelings. And if I need to express my feelings, I'm going to express my feelings. And if you want to express your feelings, you should express your feelings. We're only here once. Don't ever be ashamed of your feelings. Don't ever be afraid of showing your emotion because you're afraid of what somebody else is going to think of you. F them. It doesn't matter. It's your life. Get your hands in the dirt and feel your life. Allow yourself to be impacted by what happens to you. Allow yourself to feel emotions. And I think there are real healthy, cathartic ways, too, write music, write poetry, keep a journal, write down how you're feeling, take a walk, get it out, physically if you want to, like by running or working out. I mean, there's so many different ways that I think are so healthy and cathartic for us to deal with our emotions and what's going on. And I'm not just talking about it from a healthy point of view, I'm talking about it from a realistic life point of view, And, stuff's gonna happen in life. We're gonna lose people. We're gonna lose people that don't even pass away, that just don't want to be in our lives anymore, or they move away, or we break up, or you're gonna lose people. And I think the lesson for it, for me, is really in being grateful for what I have today. I used to say this prayer when I first got sober at a friend of mine in my aftercare group. He used to say, see, all these people gone. But he used to say to me, he used to say in the group that this was a prayer that he said was, help me to want what I already have. And I love that prayer, It doesn't even have to be a prayer. It can just be an affirmation. Help me to want what I already have. And that's about being grateful for the moment that you've been given. The house that you have, the dogs you have, the cats you have, the partner you have, the friends you have, the family you have. In the moment, what do you have? Let's be grateful for that. I think Jason was not somebody that would have wanted us to have this huge life revelation and been like, I learned so much, my life. He just wasn't. He would have thought that was phony bullshit. He just would have thought that, And that's where I say, there's an honor and, in paying, tribute to somebody that's passed and in their life. He would have thought that was bullshit. He would have. But he was definitely somebody that took life by the balls and lived it to the best. And that is what I will take from him. He did some great stuff. He went to music festivals in Mexico. He went to go to, what's it called? Tomorrowland in Belgium. He did that last year and went through Europe. Cambodia, like I said. I mean, he had a life, He had a life. He had a pretty cool life. And I also don't think that he would want people to sit around and be super sad. I think he wouldn't. We were talking about that on the way down there today, And, I think that he would want his life to mean something. But I think, he just was real. He had a great sense of humor. He was hilarious, Maybe that's the lesson I need to hear, is learning to live more the moments that I have instead of pontificating about them. But I think it's a little bit of both for me. Makes you wonder, like, when you're gone, what you would want people to take from your life. You know, I think I would want people to take from mine that, like, never give up. You're never going to be a perfect version of yourself, but you could, you know, you're always going to be growing. You're always going to be changing, but you have to be open to the growth. You have to be open to the change, and like you're a student of life, basically. And I feel like that's something that, like, I learned it, and I got it, but then, like, in the last 5 years, like, I really got it. Like, and I believe that. But, you know, don't judge yourself too harshly, and never give up on yourself. And always continue to improve yourself. I also think, take a little bit of time every day to laugh. Take a little time every day to dance to music. You know? Make jokes. We take life way too serious. I mean, there are periods of life that need to be taken seriously, don't get me wrong, but I think sometimes there's other parts that we take seriously when we shouldn't. They were talking about, like, there were some girls that were talking about, like, what outfits they're going to wear on Friday. They were, like, asking, and I thought, this is, like, Jason would have liked that. He would have thought that was cute, that they were, like, picking their outfits for Friday. He was not somebody that cared about his own outfits. But he could appreciate a good female in all her beauty. And, but always appropriate, though, you know, like, but he would have gotten a kick out of that they were picking out their outfits for him, you know. Anyway. Tomorrow, I have a sobriety commitment in the early afternoon, and then we're going to David's graduation. If it doesn't rain, Caroline said that if it rains, they reschedule it, and I think it's Saturday if they reschedule it, so, or maybe it's Sunday, I don't know. I think it's the 1st, whatever. So, tomorrow is, what is today? I don't know what today's date is. What is that noise? That was my speaker. That was weird. So, today's the 30th. So then, Friday's the 31st, which means Saturday is the 1st. So it'll be Saturday. And then we don't have a whole lot. On Sunday, Alex said he has something for us to do. This, like, event or something that he wants us to go to. But other than that, we don't have a whole lot. So, anyway, I'm going to get off now. I finished my audiobook today on the way back. Alex, we stopped on the way back. Alex was like, I'm so hungry. And I was like, oh, well, I guess I'll have an Optivia bar. Here's my Optivia bar. And then, here's my times of my Optivia today that I ate. I write them down every day so I know, like, when my meals are. So today's was, well, it started at 11:30. So, so you do the math, 11:30 to 4:30. What does it say on here? I think it goes all the way up. So I ate my last one early because we were going to bed. You're like, Peter, it doesn't matter. If you're doing Optavia, though, I would do this. Like, this really helps. And then to kind of plan out your day. Like, I had all my meals planned out today when we left. Because I brought, like, 4 or 5 bars with me. 11:32, 4:37, 9:30, and 12. And I had today the lemon zesty bars, and then I had a new kind of bar too, which, oh, this is the cinnamon zesty bar. But I did that Scentbird sponsorship. Can I just tell you that today for the road trip, I brought Alex's Bulgari Men. Here it is. I really do like these things. So, I'm gonna keep this in the car. Because Tanya's always like, before we go to a meeting, she's like, do you have any cologne in the car? I'm like, cologne or perfume? She's like, I don't care either. So I'm gonna keep this in the car and then she can use it. She'll appreciate that. They come in these nice little pouches and stuff. This is not sponsored, this video, just so you know. But isn't that nice little video? Isn't that nice little pouch that comes with? I think it's great for traveling. I was kind of surprised on my video how many people were like, I really like Scentbird. So, yeah, I did that. I filmed that yesterday, and then I filmed that Tuesday and put it up Wednesday. Because I knew that we were going to be out of town for this. So, that is about it for today. So I have the sobriety commitment, and then I don't know, I may take, to be honest with you, I may take a day off tomorrow for making all 5 videos. I may make if I make videos tomorrow, I think the one I may take a break from, although we'll see. It just depends on what comes up. If something comes up that I feel like I need to make a video about on my Peter Monn channel, I will. But my BookTube channel, I need to do a review of Lost Girls, which was the book for the book club that I did not finish in time for the book club. So I just finished that. God, that book was not good. Not good. And so I need to do a review of that. And then my Peterisms, a couple people have reached out to me and asked me to make videos about certain things. So I want to do that. And then review videos. I have like 5 or 6 review videos that I want to make. I have like 3 things in the garage, and then I have like 2 or, how many things did I buy? 3. I was just showing them to Alex last night. And then my vlog. So yeah, I've got some videos to make. So that will be my day tomorrow. And then we are going to the graduation, and then we're going to Caroline's house afterwards for pizza. I don't know how I'm going to do that. I guess I could have 1 piece of pizza. So I guess that's what I'll be allowing myself for dinner tomorrow night if we go to Caroline's house. But she usually has like vegetables and spread and that kind of stuff. So I'll be able to have some vegetables and things like that. Anyway, all right, you guys, listen, I'm going to get off here. And I hope you guys are having a fantastic, what is it going to be? Thursday. An amazing Thursday, unless you have other plans. And I'm going to listen to my audiobook. I don't know which one I'm going to listen to yet. I need to go up here into Noblesville, pull off the next gas station and see what audiobooks I want to listen to. And then I hope you guys are having an amazing Thursday, unless you have other plans. And if nobody else has told you this today, I love you. Make sure that you look at yourself in the mirror. Make sure that you tell yourself that. Pass it on to somebody else. If you've never done it before, do a gratitude list of all of the things in your life that you're grateful for. I used to talk about it a lot. I don't talk about it on here as much anymore. Don't forget I have candles on the Poorhouse Candle Company if you want to go check those out. And yeah, I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye. Love ya.